The alarm started the second her heel crossed the threshold. Not a soft beep. A full security shriek that cut through 200 guests and a string quartet like a knife. My sister froze halfway down the aisle in $8,000 of ivory silk. The officiant's mouth opened. My mother gasped. And every single person in that chapel turned to stare at the sapphire ring on her left hand. My grandmother's ring, the one she'd borrowed 3 weeks ago. Just for photos, she said. Just until the reception, the one I knew she was never planning to give back. I stood up from the second row. I pulled out my phone, and I let the camera roll, because I had receipts. 3 kinds she didn't know existed. But to understand why I walked into my own sister's wedding ready to destroy it, you need to know how we got here. If you're watching this at 2 a.m. because your family makes you feel crazy, drop your time zone below. Hit subscribe. You're going to want to see how this ends. Let's rewind 3 weeks. My grandmother raised me. My parents were there, but Grandma was the one who showed up. School plays. Scraped knees. The night I decided to study gemology because she let me sort her jewelry box by candlelight when I was 7. When she died, she left me one thing. Her sapphire ring, platinum band, Art Deco filigree, certified at $47,000. But the dollar amount didn't matter. It was hers, and she wanted me to have it. The will was clear, notarized, witnessed by her lawyer. My sister got the china, some stocks, a few books. She didn't say a word at the reading, just stared at my hand like I'd stolen something. See, my sister was the golden child. She got the house down payment, the car, the wedding budget our parents had been saving since she was 12. I got good grades and a used laptop and a lifetime of being told not to make waves. I'm an estate appraiser now. I catalog jewelry, art, antiques. I photograph everything. I keep every receipt, every email, every document. It's my job. It's also how I stay sane in a family that rewrites history every time it's convenient. 6 months before the wedding, I had the ring professionally reappraised. Updated photos. New insurance rider, all stored in the cloud and in a fireproof safe. I didn't know I'd need it. Then my sister called. And I made one mistake. I answered. I need a favor. That's how she started. Voice sweet. A little shaky. David's family is old money. They expect heirloom jewelry at the wedding. I don't have anything. Mom's stuff is costume. I need to borrow Grandma's ring. I should have said no right there. Just for the portraits and the ceremony. I'll give it back at the reception. I promise. I felt my stomach drop. But before I could answer, my phone buzzed. My mother. Your sister is in tears. This day is hard enough. Can you just be generous for once? Then my father. It's one day. She's not asking you to give it to her. Don't make this difficult. 3 calls in 10 minutes. Tag team guilt. So I said yes. I met her at a coffee shop 2 days later. I brought the ring in its box. I also brought my phone. I took photos of her holding it. I made her text me a written agreement. Loan. Return by 6 p.m. day of wedding. She rolled her eyes, but she typed it. There. Happy? She slid the ring on, turned her hand in the light, and for just a second, her face changed. It really should have been mine. Grandma was confused at the end. I didn't answer. I just screenshotted the text. 2 days before the wedding, she stopped replying. 48 hours before, she blocked my number. I tried my parents first. You're being paranoid. I called the venue. They said they don't get involved in family disputes. I messaged David's sister on social media. No reply. I booked a consultation with a lawyer. She was kind but clear. Without proof she intends to keep it, it's a civil matter. You can file after the wedding. Police won't touch this yet. Civil means slow. Civil means months. Civil means I'd have to prove it in court while my family called me a liar. My mother left a voicemail. If you make a scene at this wedding, you are dead to me. Do you understand? Dead. I sat on my apartment floor that night, staring at the empty ring box. I had the appraisal, the will, the text agreement, the photos, but I didn't have the ring. I thought about not going, just skipping it, cutting my losses and walking away from all of them. Let her win. Let them have their perfect day. Let me disappear. I almost did. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't pick up. This is Ben from Estate Jewelers. You filed a stolen property alert on a sapphire ring last week? My heart stopped. Someone tried to sell it here yesterday. When I asked for provenance, she grabbed it and left. But we have her on camera. He emailed me the footage while I was still on the phone. The timestamp read April 12th, 2:15 p.m. The woman at the counter was my sister. She was holding the ring under the light. The jeweler's loupe was on the counter. She looked nervous. I could read her lips on the silent footage. It's from my divorce. I just want to know what it's worth. The jeweler had written notes on the ticket. Platinum, sapphire, Art Deco, matches alert. Asked for papers. Subject refused and exited. I checked my text history. April 12th. That was the day my sister told me she had an all-day dress fitting and couldn't meet. She wasn't borrowing the ring. She was selling it. And based on what I found next, she'd already ordered the replacement. I called my insurance company that night. I reported the ring stolen. They flagged it in every database they had. The insurance agent explained it to me. When an item is flagged, it triggers alarms at any retailer with integrated security systems. Bridal boutique, jewelry counters, high-end stores. If she's wearing it and walks through a checkpoint, it'll go off. I didn't tell anyone. My parents did the telling for me. A group text to me and 12 relatives. She filed a false police report to ruin her sister's wedding. This is jealousy. This is sick. My aunt called. My uncle called. 2 cousins I hadn't spoken to in years sent messages calling me bitter and small. Then my sister's lawyer sent a letter. It claimed the ring was a verbal gift, that I was harassing her, that if I contacted any wedding vendors or guests, she'd sue me for defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress. I read it twice. Then I hired a private investigator. It took him 6 hours. He sent me a PDF at 11 p.m. on Wednesday. The wedding was Saturday. I opened it, and I finally understood everything. She wasn't just entitled. She was drowning. The PI found 2 things. First, an online purchase. My sister had ordered a cubic zirconia replica of the ring from an overseas vendor. $89. Express shipping. Delivery date, the morning of the wedding. The listing photos matched the original almost perfectly. And in the order notes, she'd written a message to the seller. Need it to look real under photo lights. Uploading reference photo. The reference photo was my ring. From a family Christmas 2 years ago. She was planning to swap them during photos. Return the fake. Pocket $47,000. And I'd never know unless I had it appraised again. Which I wouldn't, because I'd think I had the real one. The second thing the PI found was her credit report. $68,000 in debt. All of it from the wedding, venue, dress, flowers, photographer, videographer, a honeymoon package to the Maldives she posted about but couldn't afford. Everything on credit cards at 24% interest. David's family was old money. Traditional. They'd run background checks. If they found out about the debt, they'd call off the wedding. So she decided to fix it by erasing me. I stared at that report for an hour. My sister made $60,000 a year as a marketing coordinator. She'd spent more than her entire salary on one day. Our parents had already given her $30,000. That was their limit. They couldn't give more without destroying their own retirement. David's family had money, but they had rules. The PI found the engagement contract. Old families do this. Financial disclosure, background checks, prenups. My sister had 60 days post-wedding to submit a clean credit report. If she didn't, the family attorney would audit her. And if they found hidden debt, the marriage could be annulled within the first year. She could have asked me for a loan. She could have scaled back the wedding. She could have been honest with David, but she didn't. She chose to steal from me, replace the ring with a fake, and let me be the villain if I ever found out, because that's what she'd been taught her whole life. When you're the golden child, other people exist to solve your problems. And I was tired of being her solution. So I made a decision, a very calm one. I didn't call my family. I called the venue. I explained that a piece of stolen jewelry had been flagged in the National Insurance Database. I gave them the case number. I asked if their security system was integrated. It was. The manager was professional. If the alarm goes off, we'll need to verify ownership on site. Do you have documentation? I have everything. Next, I called the non-emergency police line. I explained the situation. Provided the insurance flag number. The officer said they'd have someone nearby in case verification was needed. Not an arrest. Just a civil property dispute with documentation ready. I printed everything. The will, the appraisal, the text loan agreement, the pawn shop footage, the replica order receipt, the PI report. I put it all in a folder. I charged my phone to 100%. I RSVP'd yes to the wedding. The morning of, I drove to the venue alone. I wore navy blue. I sat in the second row. I didn't speak to anyone. I just waited. And when the music started, I opened my phone and pressed record. The processional started at exactly 2 p.m., bridesmaids first. Then the flower girl. Then my sister. She looked perfect. Hair in a low bun. Dress fitted like art. And on her left hand, catching every beam of light through the stained glass, my grandmother's sapphire ring. She took 3 steps down the aisle. Then the alarm went off. It wasn't subtle. It was the kind of sound you hear when someone tries to walk out of a store with a tagged item. Sharp, repeating, impossible to ignore. The music stopped. My sister froze. Her face went white, then red. 200 people turned in their seats. The venue security stepped out from the side door. A police officer I recognized from my call followed 2 steps behind. I stood up. I kept my voice calm. That ring is mine. It was reported stolen. I have documentation. My sister spun around. She gave it to me. This is insane. I held up my phone. I have your text from April 1st. You agreed to return it by 6 p.m. 3 weeks ago. You blocked me instead. The officer stepped forward. Ma'am, do you have proof of ownership for that ring? My sister's voice went shrill. It's a family heirloom. It's mine. I pulled the folder from my purse. My grandmother's will. Page 4, clause 11. She left it to me. Witnessed and notarized. I turned to the officer. She tried to pawn it on April 12th. Here's the security footage from the jeweler. I handed him the printout. David's mother stood up from the front row. You told us your family had estate jewelry. Is any of this true? My mother tried to interrupt. My father moved toward me. I held up my phone again. She also ordered a cubic zirconia replica online. $89. It was delivered this morning. She was going to swap them and return me a fake. I showed the screen to the officer. He looked at my sister. Ma'am, I need you to remove the ring. No, ma'am. She stared at me, pure hate. Then she ripped the ring off her finger and threw it. It hit the carpet 2 feet from my shoes. She turned and ran out the side exit. David stood frozen at the altar. His mother picked up her purse and walked out behind my sister without a word. The chapel went silent except for my mother sobbing in the front row. I bent down, picked up the ring, slipped it into the velvet box I'd brought, and I walked out. The wedding was canceled. The venue kept the deposit per the contract. Non-refundable once the ceremony starts, even if it only lasted 90 seconds. David's family called off the engagement within 48 hours. Not because of the money, because my sister had lied. About the ring. About the debt. About who she was. The private investigator they hired after the wedding found everything. The credit cards. The replica order. The pawn attempt. They offered her a settlement. She could walk away quietly, or they'd pursue legal action for fraud related to the engagement contract. She signed. My sister moved back in with my parents. They sent a group email to the entire family. I was the villain. The jealous sister who couldn't stand to see her happy. I didn't reply. I saved the email. I blocked them all. And I moved on. She sent one message from a new number a week later. I hope you're happy. You destroyed my life. I wrote back once. I offered to help. You chose to steal. Those are your consequences, not mine. Then I blocked that number too. I kept the ring. I had it cleaned, reappraised, and I put it in a safety deposit box at my bank. I don't wear it. I wear a photo of my grandmother instead. On a chain. Close to my heart. One day I'll pass the ring to my own daughter. Or I'll donate it to a gemology museum in my grandmother's name. Someone who'll value the story, not the price tag. I started therapy a month later. Not because of the wedding. Because of everything before it. I'd spent my whole life losing so my sister could win. I was done losing. My therapist said something I'll never forget. You didn't ruin her wedding. She did, the moment she decided lying was easier than asking. You just refused to be her cover story. I don't talk to my parents anymore. I don't hate them. I just don't have space for people who ask me to set myself on fire to keep someone else warm. I have friends now who show up, I have boundaries. I have peace. And I have my grandmother's ring. Not because I fought for it, because it was always mine. You can love your family and still lock the door. That's not cruelty. That's self-respect. So here's my question for you. Would you have let the alarm go off, or would you have handled it privately? Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace and keeping your dignity? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. If this helped you think about your own boundaries, hit subscribe. New story every week. And remember, keeping what's yours isn't selfish. It's survival. This story is a fictionalized dramatization for entertainment purposes and is not legal or financial advice. Always consult licensed professionals for your specific situation.